So there's a video on YouTube from the Central Bank of Canada. Zero Hedge has this article here about it. Bank of Canada lays out in a YouTube clip how the economy could tank and what its effects would be. But also notes clearly the stress tests of Canadian banks show that they're very, very strong. They could withstand a lot of issues, foreclosures and things of that nature, and still be okay. But the economy, on the other hand, the housing, the people, recession, they may not do so well. Why would they? And it's like a minute and 50 seconds. I'll link you to this. I'll link this Zero Hedge article in case you want to watch the video. Why would the Central Bank of Canada do a video of a guy essentially that works there doing this interview? It's like he's being interviewed to tell everyone how strong the Canadian banks are, and that even if a big problem came, they could withstand it, no sweat. Why would they do this? What do I always tell you they do in advance? And what do I also tell you to do when they say something? You do the opposite. Okay? What did we learn? They had to come out. First of all, what did we hear not that long ago about the Italian banks and the German banks, such as Deutsche Bank? We heard someone from, I think, the ECB and from the government state this bank is fine, Deutsche Bank is fine, there's nothing to see here, everything's good. We heard the same kind of nonsense, similar, about the Italian banks. They're fine, they're funded, everything's good, we don't need them. Which turned into, we do kind of have a problem. Which turned into, don't worry about it, it's a small problem, we've got $5 billion we'll raise here shortly. Which turned into, okay, we only raised $500 million, we got a big problem. Which turned into, Italy's now going to nationalize Monte dei Paschi, the bank, what I'm talking about. We're going to own probably 70% of this baby because it needs many, 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 many billions of dollars. Okay? So, first, no problem. They can withstand this. Stress tests are good. Then they do, I think they did a stress test at one point and it wasn't so good. What does that mean? It means stress test means absolutely nothing because they can do a stress test this way. And remember what they did the second time they did stress tests, years later after the first time? We changed the quote-unquote algorithm. And I did a video on this. If they put the algorithm back to what it was when they did the first stress tests, many, many, many banks will fail. But they changed it to make it easier for the banks not to fail. So they said they passed the stress test. But you changed the stress test from what it used to be, correct? Yes, we did. So again, stress test means absolutely nothing to me. It's another way of them telling you, leave your money in the bank, don't cause a run on the bank, everything's fine. When everything isn't fine, and we're gravely concerned about the banks. That's what that tells me. When not the ECB, but the Canadian Central Bank comes out and tells you the banks can withstand a lot of damage, such as non-performing loans, foreclosures. It can withstand a lot. Nothing to really worry about, according to our stress test. Bank of Canada, Central Bank of Canada. Is your stress test using the new methods or the old ones, in which if it was, most failed it? Just curious because you didn't say. I think we both know what one they've used. Not that it matters. Because what matters is when they come out and tell you something, you know the opposite is true. Okay? As Maclean's Jason Kirby points out, the bank has taken to YouTube to warn Canadians about the dangers of too much debt and unrealistic house price expectations. He wonders, however, whether anyone will listen as one after another real estate bubble form in Canada, a nation whose household debt ratio has never been higher. And it was about 145% in 2007 and 8 roughly. And then from there on up, it just kept creeping up. Higher, 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 higher. It is now 167.6%, which, by the way, is the highest it's ever been in Canada. I'm curious, just since I'm on this subject here. Household debt ratio USA. Anything? St. Louis Fed, huh? What do we got here? 2006. Household debt to GDP. Not really looking at that. So let me put this on pause for a second. I'm curious where America stands on this. All right, so I found kind of, sort of, something, and I'm in this chart. We need to see this one, okay? And I think this is from 2014 up to 2014. 2014. So, United States, 113% of net disposable income. So this is household debt to net disposable income, which means if you're over 100%, you're over indebted, period. End of story. If you're at 100%, you're even, which still isn't good. So we're 113% as of 2014. Tell me, this is the Western world, right? Western world, spend, debt, don't worry about it. We'll pay it. We'll figure out a way to pay it tomorrow. When in reality, that never happens. We're going to have defaulting. That's why people can't afford anything. Can't pay their payments hardly. They don't have $1,000 in the bank. Most Americans, as I just discussed, we just spend, get in debt. If you don't have the money, just get in debt. Don't worry about it. But tell me if any of these countries sound like our twin sister, the European Union, this other great experiment that's supposed to be fantastic, another westernized system. Greece, 120%. Finland, 127. Spain, 128%. Japan, 132. Portugal, 143. United Kingdom, 152. Korea, 163. Canada, 173. Now, the other one I just read you was 167 currently. Which I'm not sure, because I'm looking back at 2014 on this other chart here from Zero Hedge, and it's a little bit lower. So I'm not sure what the difference is between these two sites, but at least they're close. Switzerland, Ireland, Norway, they're now over 200%. Netherlands, 283, and Denmark, 308%. How does anyone get out of this and fix this? This is insane. That's why, as Lindsay Williams did say a long time ago, the name of the game is to get out of debt as fast as you can. Now you're knowing why he's charging $50, $48 plus tax shipping, $50, $52 technically, for a DVD. Okay, Lindsay has probably already had a debt. He's stockpiling for that rainy day. As BMO pointed out, when the latest household debt ratio was released, the upward trend in household debt goes back for the 26 years for which it has records, and is showing no signs of slowing down. So, again, you pay your bills, you do stuff. I just can kind of afford this lifestyle I have, whatever. Afford to pay these bills. Oh, shoot, my car broke down. Freaking thing needs a transmission. It's going to be $1,800. Oh. Well, good thing I got this credit card. Put on the credit card, honey. All right. Next thing you know, you're paying that card for years. Something else happened. Get the credit card out, pay it again. And again, when you add up the amount of interest you've paid, you're going to say, oh my God, I've already paid this credit card off a long time ago, and I'm still not paying it off because I still owe on it. But just the interest. Again, what are the interest rates at now? You do not want to be a person who has to use a credit card right now. 20-something%, even with phenomenal credit. While it looks as though the Vancouver housing market is cooling off after foreign buyers tax was implemented, the Toronto market remains very strong and others are showing signs of improving as well, said BMO senior economist Benjamin Rietzes. Meanwhile, none other than Canada's central bank has ramped up its warnings about heavily indebted households and the unreasonable expectations driving the housing market. Yet all indications are that Canadians have stuffed cotton in their ears. La 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 la, good times. La 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 la, don't tell me that. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine until it's not. Housing prices are fine until they crash. Stock market all-time high until it crashes. Then what? Then you have to pull that cotton out of your ear. And that's when I come to you. Oh, you got that house with the 10, 12 acres on it? Would you pay for that? Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, listen, the housing market currently says that this is worth 60% of what you paid for it. Yeah, I know. But you want out and you want to remain having a decent your credit score. You don't want to have a foreclosure on your record, do you? No, that's why I'm selling it so cheap. Well, you're not necessarily selling it so cheap. You're selling it for what the market says it's worth. I'd like to buy that house. Would you like silver or cash? I've been saving for the last 3 years and buying silver at the same time. I'd like to have that house from you, right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to pluck that cotton out of your ear. Cotton in the roadside, cotton in the ditch. We all picked cotton, but we never got rich. ISIS coming from the south. We let the men, but I'll shut my mouth. Remember that little parody I did? I think I already erased it, though. Deleted it off YouTube. Cotton will be removed from your ears, whether you like it or not. Just as it was in 2008. And what did we hear before 2008? Markets are at all-time highs. Nothing in sight. Federal Reserve, we didn't see anything coming. We couldn't see this coming. No one saw this coming. Very, very few people saw it coming and said, we got a problem. This isn't sustainable. All these houses, prices going up. Everybody's approved. No one's doing background checks, job checking on these people. This is not going to, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And it imploded. And then the casualties were you and I. I didn't get this ridiculous home equity line of credit on my house that I'm now stuck with this overpriced house upside down. No. I didn't do that. I had a very, very small, by the way, equity line of credit on the house. Very small. My house at the time of the peak was worth, at the absolute most, about $206,000, somewhere around there. After I'd made the decision to not make the payments on that house because I got screwed and I wasn't taking it lying down, I think the price, even if I wanted to quote unquote do the right thing, I was still upside down from what it was worth. I bought that house for like $111,000 in I think 2003. We ended up getting an equity line of credit. We owed ultimately at one point we owed $130,000 on the house, and then we had the crash happen, and the price was back down under that. And I said, there's not a chance in hell. Because we tried selling the house at first. And didn't work. That's why I said, you know what? Why am I doing this? I didn't do anything wrong. It's not my fault. And I'm not going to get stuck with the house that's losing value because of what these banks did. F them. I'm not paying. And I stayed in that house for around 5 years. Didn't pay a single penny. Settled with the bank, where they paid me to stop fighting them in court, and walked away with a small little settlement. Which, by the way, you're going to love this. I've been getting, and I mentioned this the other day, I've got some letters from, the old, we're the new servicer of your loan. Effective this date, start sending your payments to us. I said, you got to be kidding me. I settled that with Bank of America. Signed, done deal, lawyers involved, done. And now you're telling me I owe you because they sold you the loan? Oh, no way. No way. I sent them a letter in writing, certified mail. I dispute the validity of this debt. I do not owe this debt, nor does my wife, nor does anyone with the last name of my last name. We settled with Bank of America. Here is their lawyer's information who could tell you more about the matter. I can't just give you the settlement. It says the absolute details in here I can't go over. Can't share that. And I agree. Yes, I won't share the exact details of it. So I can't just give you, Carrington Homes Mortgage Services, the settlement agreement. You're not a party to this agreement. Which is why I said, here's the lawyer that you can contact that will show you it was absolutely done through a settlement. He's the wrong guy. Stop sending him notices. But they didn't. And I just checked my credit score last week. It was 697 previously. 580. What the hell is this? Oh, a new derogatory mark. What is this? Carrington Home Mortgage Services, 2 months past due. Oh, no, you didn't. I am now going to send a settlement demand letter to both Carrington Mortgage Services because I disputed the debt in writing, and the law states that you have to show me how I owe it, prove that I owe it. You didn't send me anything, and then you went and nicked it on my credit score. You're going to get a nice hefty fine from me, basically, by settling with me out of court, which you will do, for violating the Fair Credit, whatever that thing is called, Fair Credit Act, something. In Bank of America, you are in gross violation of our settlement agreement because you sold this loan to another company as if I owned it when I settled with you to where it's yours. It's not mine anymore. My name's off of it. And you sold it to them, not as such, but as a good mortgage, and now they're expecting me to pay. Settlement demand letter to Bank of America will be coming this week. Settlement demand letter to Carrington Home Mortgage Services will be forthcoming this week. And I'm going to be asking for a sizable settlement. That's a ridiculous amount, by the way, and to see what they say about it. They know they're wrong. I know how to play this game. I sent certified mail. I have copies. I have confirmation. They cannot escape this. And I don't know what the going rate is as far as settlement goes for when you've settled with a bank on a mortgage. They call it a cash for keys deal. We'll give you cash. Leave the property. Don't fight us. Let us foreclose. Have a nice day. I don't know what the going rate is for when you're in violation of the settlement agreement and you sold it to another company that's now hounding me to pay it. But I suspect it's not the typical $1,000 for each time we contact you trying to collect. No, it's going to be probably far greater than that. And I'm going to hit them up. And I will keep you posted with how that goes, so that if anybody ever deals with this, you will know. This is what Jay Snipfor did. He didn't hire his lawyer that he had for the foreclosure thing. He did it himself. Didn't even have to go to court. He just sent the settlement demand letter to their attorneys. Whatever department that might be. I'm not sending it to the attorney that handled the foreclosure, although I might, because they were the ones that handled it. We'll see. I'll let you know. But problem here, again, and he just finish this up real quick. It says, number one, as the bank has pointed out already, households are highly indebted and house prices are rising at an unsustainable rate. Though, as he observes, people can often cope with these vulnerabilities for an extended period, but not indefinitely. Number two, that is until an economic shock triggers a negative chain of events. For instance, a severe recession would lead to a sharp increase in unemployment. Number three, a lot of households, especially those carrying the heaviest debt loads, would have trouble meeting their debt payments. As a result, some households would start to default on their loans, and in turn, banks and trust companies would foreclose and try to sell those houses. 4. At the same time, with the economy slowing, new buyers would delay house purchases until the economy improved. Given the challenges already facing the economy, this could, quote, cause a large drop in house prices. 5. If house prices fell, it would push down household wealth, which has received a huge boost from the housing boom, and that could curtail consumer spending, which itself has become a primary driver of growth. The added stress on the financial sector would also weigh on the economy as lenders cut back on making new loans. He doesn't use that term, but what he's talking about is a credit crunch. He says there is good news, though, according to this guy from the central bank. Stress tests show Canada's big banks will be just fine with a large drop in house prices. Stress tests also showed that both Belgian Dexia and Spanish Bankia were perfectly solvent just months before or prior to their respective failures. It's also important to note that the bank, in its financial system review, said there is a low probability of a sharp correction in house prices. but there's no getting around the immense damage such a scenario would have on the economy. So what else was there a low probability for? Housing problems prior to the end of 2008. Low probability. The Federal Reserve said it themselves. Very low probability. I remember Ben Bernanke. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find this. Bernanke says low probability. Logical monetary policy, optimum policy, low probability of extreme events, he said. 2004. 2007, October. Bernanke said strong central bank action may be warranted at times. Worst case scenarios, including those with only low probability, yada, yada, yada. There was one, I was trying to see if it would come up, like if I searched for a video, because I remember he was point blank asked something where he said, oh, extremely low to like non-existent probability, and then it happened. Oh, got that one wrong. You know, the smartest guy in the central bank room of America runs the central bank. Oh, low to not even happening probability. And then it happened. Oh, sorry about that. So that's it for today, fellas. Ladies, take care.